All right, let's dive into one of the cleverest, most powerful ideas in modern AI, the attention mechanism. This is the breakthrough that really took machine translation from just being okay to being almost scarily good. And, it all started with a problem I'm sure you've run into. You've probably seen this yourself, right? You pop in a short phrase like, "Hello, how are you?" And bam, the translation is perfect. But then you try to paste in a big, long, complicated sentence from an article, and what you get back is, well, it's a mess. So why does that happen? It's a classic issue that had researchers scratching their heads for a long time.
And here's that problem in action. See? The short phrase gets translated perfectly, but with the longer sentence, the meaning just kind of disintegrates. The main ideas might be in there somewhere, but the grammar's all wrong, and the connections between different parts of the sentence are totally lost. This really points to a fundamental flaw in how the older models were designed.
The core issue actually has a name. It's called the information bottleneck. The standard sequence-to-sequence models, which were the workhorses of early machine translation, had this major design flaw. They were basically trying to squeeze an entire ocean's worth of meaning through a tiny little straw. So here's how that bottleneck happens. First, you have an encoder that reads the whole input sentence. Simple enough. But then, and this is the crazy part, it has to cram the meaning of everything it just read into one single fixed-size package of information. We call that a context vector. And finally, the decoder has to generate the entire translation using only that one little compressed summary. It has no way to look back at the original words. I mean, think about it like this. Imagine I asked you to translate a really complex paragraph after only letting you read it once. You'd probably remember the general vibe, right? The main point. But you would almost certainly forget some of the finer details, the exact order of things, which adjective went with which noun. That is exactly the problem the decoder was facing. It was working from a really fuzzy memory. So, if that's the problem, how do you fix this terrible memory? Well, the big breakthrough idea was actually pretty intuitive. What if the decoder didn't have to rely on that one single faded memory? What if it could just peek back at the original sentence whenever it needed to, just to find the most important parts for the word it's working on right now? And that, my friends, brings us to the hero of our story, the attention mechanism. It's this incredible technique that basically gives the model a superpower, the ability to focus. So instead of trying to remember everything all at once, it learns to pay attention to specific, relevant bits of the input exactly when it needs them most. And how it works is just beautiful. Okay, picture this. Right before the decoder is about to spit out a new word, it stops. It looks back at the encoder's notes for every single word in the original sentence. Then it asks itself, for the specific word I'm about to write, how important is each of these original words? It gives each one an importance score, and then it builds a brand new custom context vector just for this single step, putting more weight on the input words that got a higher score. And this right here, this is the absolute game changer. We're moving away from one static context vector for the entire sentence to a dynamic, specially made context vector that's created fresh for every single word in the translation. It's like giving the translator a spotlight that they can shine back and forth on the original text as they work. Okay, so our decoder just got a massive upgrade. It's got this new superpower of focus. But here's the thing. Its attention is only as good as the information it's looking back at, which leads to the next logical question. Can we make the encoder's initial understanding of the sentence even deeper and richer to begin with? Oh, you bet we can. And we do it with something called a bidirectional encoder. See, a standard encoder reads a sentence just like we do, from left to right. That means when it gets to the word apple in the phrase an apple a day, all it knows about is the word an that came before it. A bidirectional encoder, though, it reads the sentence forwards and backwards at the same time. The result is a much, much deeper understanding of context. When the bidirectional encoder looks at the word apple, it knows that an came before it, and it knows that a day comes after it. This gives it a complete 360-degree view of every word's job in the sentence before the attention mechanism even starts doing its thing. And that, of course, leads to way more accurate, important scores. So, let's wrap this up. What are the big takeaways? Well, first, the attention mechanism completely shatters that old information bottleneck. It allows the model to focus on what's important, one step at a time, which is why it's so amazing at handling long, complicated sentences. And then, when you pair it with a bidirectional encoder, you're giving the model a super deep, contextual understanding of the text right from the get-go.
Attention was, without a doubt, a huge leap forward. It gave these models a powerful and really flexible kind of short-term memory. But even today, remembering information across, say, an entire book is still a massive challenge. So that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. If attention is the key to memory, what's the next big breakthrough we need to achieve true, long-form understanding?
Hey, if you enjoyed this peek under the hood of AI, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us make more of these explainers that break down these big, complex ideas. Thanks so much for watching.